Jeremy had time today. Okay, on a recent post about stock picking that highlighted Nvidia, do you want to explain the post actually before I read the comment?
Yeah, so the post has a little emoji guy, like very confidently saying, I bought Nvidia in 2015 and I'm up 21,000%, which is actually true about Nvidia. It's up like a
Crazy.
crazy amount since 2015. And that is under the title, What They Say. But then under the title, What They Don't Say is, including all my other stocks, including all my other 67 stocks, I'm down a total of negative 14%. And so the point is basically a lot of people on social media, at barbecues, at family Christmas, whatever, they're going to talk about investing in a, you know, that one time I caught that big fish way. Like, oh,
Right,
I caught a fish, it was that big. And it was probably an exaggeration. It probably wasn't that big. And they didn't talk about all the times that like they lost fish.
right.
And with investing, when you do a really careful audit of all of your investments, not just the one that you like thought you like did really well on, it's usually much worse than just having bought an index fund. And so the message here, as is always the message, is don't get caught up in this stock picking game. Just buy the index, and the focus shouldn't be on doing more research and picking more clever stocks. The focus should be on spending less, putting more money into your index fund, and letting it ride for longer.
Yes. Okay, so we had a commenter say, it's just nonsense to call investment picking stocks in a casino. Actual investment is not a gamble, but a weighty decision to direct capital on the basis of learned judgments about the value provided by a company's business model to customers and the ability of that business to efficiently market its products to those who benefit from buying them. If you're picking stocks based on technicals or some other nonsense, then yes, definitely stop. If you are choosing to invest in owning portions of companies that you have strongly evaluated on fundamental business proposition, then it's not gambling in the least. Though you have to ride out the volatility from all the people who buy and sell based on spurious forecasts and technical evaluations. That's a little bit of a mouthful.
I wonder how that noise is going to sound on your drive to work. I don't like this comment, and I'll
What?
tell
Tell
you
me
why.
why.
And I usually do like the comments, even the ones that are picking on me. But I think it takes a really smart person to make things simple. And this person is clearly going out of their way to try to sound smart.
Uh
It's a weighty decision to direct capital. Direct capital? Like, why would you use those words? You know what you mean? Buy stuff.
huh.
Direct capital. Give me a break. Buy stuff is what you mean. Direct capital. Based on the learned judgments, like, oh my gosh, the business model and efficiently market its products. Like, oh my God. You know, what you're saying here is like, if I read about a company, I will have a better idea if it's a good company and if I should buy stock in that company.
Yeah.
And, you know, trying to use complex language to make yourself sound smarter, to make it sound like you're doing a better job of this is like the exact part of that Dunning-Kruger curve where, you know, you think you're smart and you're actually not that smart.
hmm
And so I don't like that because I think this type of language, you know, this person, I don't care. I don't care what they do with their money. I don't care what anyone does with their money except for me. And, you know, I just like, I do this podcast and I have this passion because I like helping people. But this type of comment is like very discouraging to people who are entering investing, new investors. They're like, how could I ever direct capital? I don't even know what capital means or how I could direct it. I'm not a director. And like, you know, capital means money and direct means do you buy something with it. And so, you know, I don't like that. I don't like the tone primarily.
Did you like how
Does
I read it though? Because I'm feeling attacked right now.
well, you're always the proxy for the audience, right? So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but you're going to get blamed on
Catching
this one.
strays right
Yeah.
now. Okay, you
But
don't like the
you know,
tone in general. Okay,
I do
gotcha.
think that you had trouble reading it because there's such like word
was
salad
wordy.
of like, oh,
Yeah.
the volatility of the spurious forecast and technical evaluation.
I don't think I've
Okay.
ever said the word spurious before. Did I
I
say
know.
it
Why would
right?
you need to? It's nonsense. Okay. And, you know, he's basically making a case for fundamental investing, which is saying, hey, I can look at companies, I can read about them, I can see if they're good or bad, and then if I can buy the good companies, if I do that over time, and he makes a good point, like you don't get caught up in the short-term volatility of day traders and things like that. You just buy them for a long period of time. It's like there's a guy named Benjamin Graham who is Warren Buffett's mentor, who basically has made this case. And this is a very long time ago now, obviously, because Warren Buffett's, I think, like in his late 90s now. And for fundamental investing, and that's like like there's kind of a point there. But here's the problem. And I'm gonna make a sports analogy.
Oh no.
The opening, it's gonna be a pretty easy sports analogy, I think. I went to Michigan, big Michigan football fan. Michigan football this year in the opener, they played New Mexico, the Lobos. And Michigan is the winningest program in football history. They won the national championship 2 years ago. They got the number one quarterback recruit in the nation, the number one recruit overall. Huge offensive line, deep running backs, great coaching, blah blah. And like New Mexico has like a young program and like weaker quarterback and weaker coaching, and you can read about both these programs till you're blue in the face, and everyone's going to come to the same conclusion. Michigan is going to stomp New Mexico. And the game happened, and guess what? Michigan stomped New Mexico. And so you might be saying, this commenter might be saying, hey, I'm just going to bet on Michigan because Michigan's going to win. No doubt. But here's the problem. You're not betting if Michigan's going to win. You're betting against the spread because everybody knows Michigan's going to win. And so then the bet doesn't become who's going to win. The bet becomes how much is Michigan going to win by? And guess what? The spread going into that game was 34.5. Michigan was supposed to stomp New Mexico by 34.5 points. Half the bettors thought it was going to be more than that. Half the bettors thought it was going to be less than that. That's how the spread is calculated because everyone deeply understands the rosters, the history, the matchups, all this football stuff, right? Everyone understands that because people who putting their money on the line aren't going to make a dumb bet. They're going to really understand what's on the line here, right? And so what happened? If this person would say, Michigan's the blue blood, Michigan, blah, blah, Michigan didn't win by 34.5 or 35 as they would have needed to win the bet. Michigan won by 17. Still 2.5 scores. They still stomped New Mexico. But if you would have bet on Michigan, you would have lost, right? And so just like that, when you're picking a stock, you're not betting, is this a good or a bad company? We all know Nvidia is a good company. We all know AI is the future. We all know they have a $100 billion deal with OpenAI. We all know that China is like relying on their chips. We all know all of these things. And so doing this fundamental research doesn't matter because you don't know more than everyone else who's also choosing to buy a stock. And so if you go and buy a share of Nvidia stock, not only does it have to do all of those things we all know it's going to do, it has to do even better. It doesn't have to win the game. It has to win the game by more than 34.5 points, right?
Right.
And so
right.
It's not gambling in that you might lose money, you might win, you might make money. It's gambling relative to the market. It's gambling relative to, I could just buy an index fund and guarantee the growth of all the companies. And is buying Nvidia today going to do better than an index fund? The answer that I give you, and the answer this guy maybe won't. This one must be a male. Do we know the gender of this person? A female would never.
I think it's a man, but I can't remember.
There's no way a female wrote these words. I will bet the spread on that is 1,000,000 points. I will take the spread on that, but there's no way a female wrote spurious forecast. And not that a woman couldn't. It's just that she wouldn't.
She wouldn't. Yeah,
they're too smart to write nonsense like that. Okay, so not only you have to you're not betting against zero. You're betting against the market, right? And so is Nvidia going to beat the market? The answer is I have no idea, and neither does this commenter, right? And so it is gambling in that sense. So that said, I don't hate picking stocks. Like if you want to buy 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 blue bloods and hold them for a long time, like this person does, it's going to do very fine. But don't kid yourself into thinking you're going to outperform the index because you're not likely to. Experts have tried and tried and tried, and studies have looked at this over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they always find that the experts can't outperform the market because they're betting against the spread. They're betting against everyone else, and when you take into account the fees, if you're paying an expert to do it, like in an actively managed mutual fund, or your time and the cost, like the bid-ask spread and the effort into picking stocks, you're not going to beat the market most likely over time. And so if you want to with a little bit of your money, fine, but I disagree with this comment.
Okay, now can I ask a dumb one?
Yeah, I would love for you to ask a dumb one.
That really, really though. For this last sentence though, I'm gonna read it again because it's such a mouthful. Though you have to ride out the volatility from all the people who buy and sell based on spurious forecasts and technical evaluations, doesn't that also affect the, I mean, this might be a scale back to way of saying what you just said, but doesn't that also affect the market? Like, all the people that are doing what he's doing is affecting the market in a way that makes it easier to just to not pick stocks and just go with index fund. Is that true or no?
Totally. Like spurious forecasts means, CNBC or, Goldman Sachs or, whoever is out there predicting what stocks are going to do are making their predictions. And
Mm-hmm.
technical evaluations are, he's a value investor. He's a fundamental investor. A technical investor would be someone who's like looking at, red and green charts and 120 averages and just trying to basically pick and choose stocks based on the technicals of the stock, if it's going up or if it's going down, or if it's trending up or whatever.
Right.
And the fundamental investors like him would say, oh, the technical investors are silly or whatever. But the point is, the sum total of all of this is being priced into every share of Nvidia stock. And so he can say, saying to ignore stuff and write it out is good advice. But still, when you go buy a share of Nvidia today, all that money is already priced into it. All that information is already priced into it. So you're still getting the same price those guys are.
All right. You definitely had time today.
I know I was kind of more mean to this person than normal, but I just didn't like. I don't like
Spurious took you over the
the
edge.
yeah, very spurious.
It got me. The tongue
The weighty
twister.
decision to direct capital. Okay.
It was too much.
That's how we talk when we're trying to be inclusive and encourage people to get started investing. So yeah, I don't really
Right.
have a lot of sympathy for that kind of language.
Fair enough.
We can use the F word, but we're not saying spurious and we're not saying capital. I mean, sometimes you have to say capital because there's like capital gains and stuff like that. But we try to just use simple language here because I'm a
We
simple
do.
man. Yeah, so
You
maybe I'm a
are.
dummy. He thinks I'm a
The
dummy, but that's
Simple
fine.
Millionaire, your autobiography.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably already a book. Okay.
They're all
Well,
book. Shout out to
that's
the Simple Millionaire. Send us a
let's trademark that, and I'm gonna Google it later. Okay, that's all that we have time for today on the Personal Finance Club show. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
And don't forget the 2 rules of Personal Finance Club. Rule number 1, live below your means. And rule number 2, invest early and often.